What's going on YouTube? Cloverbells here, back with another Scarlet Violet video, and today we're going to be spotlighting Azumarill for the Regulation C format for VGC. So now basically what we're trying to do is take a look at some certain mons that have a very strong role within the meta and can do really well. And now that we've gotten a few tournament results, albeit not like the largest, but at least some results, we can kind of make some deductions and some foreshadowing when the format starts as to what Pokemon or what kind of archetypes are going to be strong and really relevant as we go into tournament play. So previously we covered the idea of Dragonite and Chien Pao, where Chien Pao is able to lower defenses thanks to Sword of Ruin, and Dragonite is able to capitalize off of that with priority extreme speed as well as some other physical moves that we'll go over in a second. But now Azumarill is also another one of those Pokemon that can do well, okay? And we talked about Scizor when we built a Dragonite Chien Pao Scizor squad. Scizor was another one that can do well because it has priority bullet punch, and Azumarill also falls in that category where now you can pressure a lot of things with, you know, Aqua Jet along with huge power combined with Sword of Ruin. And because of that, I think Azumarill is going to be really good. And the fairy coverage is actually important. You know, with these play roughs combined with you know, Sword of Ruin, you're able to pressure a lot of the dark types that are running around. So think about like Chien Pao, Wo-Chien, Chi-Yu, and even what's that other one, Tinglu, right? So you're able to just pressure them with either Aqua Jet or play roughs, and then they just kind of drop, right? Especially when you combine it with your own Chien Pao. So Azumarill can do well against all four of the Bruin Pokemon, and for that reason, I consider it one of the most used from there. And then what you also get out of using Azumarill, Dragonite, and Chien Pao is now you have a water type to round out your fire, water, grass core, and you get a fairy type to potentially round out a dragon, fairy, steel core if you so choose to go with that route. But the idea also here is with the Assault Vest, now you make the Azumarill extra bulky in the special defensive side, and 80 special defense combined with 100 HP is actually really good. Now you just make this even more bulkier with the Assault Vest, and then if you add something like Arcanine on this team, okay, where now you're just supporting the Azumarill's defensive bulk with Intimidate support, and then you combine, like, again, Snarls and Will-O-Wisp from the Arcanine along with the Intimidate, and now you're all of a sudden protecting the Azumarill Dragonite from, you know, in terms of like damage mitigation, and now they can do the job that they're supposed to do, which is basically click their priority moves, click their physical moves along with the Chien Pao, and, you know, just put on a lot of offensive pressure against the opponent, right? And our good friend Alex did very well in a recent, you know, Pokeverse tour where he used this core along with two other Pokemon. So if we take a look at that tour, and it's right over here, I was cheering for Alex when I saw him, like he was doing like super well. Here it is. He came in 5th, 9-1 record, very strong record. If we just click here again, it's a Chien Pao squad with Azumarill, Dragonite, and Arcanine. Then you have the Amoongus and Flutter Mane, and this is really nice because now you add another special attacker on the team. Technically, it's your only special attacker, and then you have redirection support from the Amoongus, and then again, this Arcanine Amoongus core gives you that defensive backbone that your offensive team kind of needs. So this way you can just redirect everything and then just keep clicking your priority moves and keeping them safe away from harm's way, right? So makes a lot of sense here, and I really like this way of using Azumarill on a squad like this. It's very balanced. It has a lot of tools, and it gives you a lot of variations for play, especially in a best of 3 tournament, right? And what you could even also consider is you could put the Palafin in this Azumarill slot since you already have a fairy type in Flutter Mane. It still works, okay? But the Azumarill gives you, you know, a lot of pressure and a lot of tools that Flutter Mane just can't give you, right? But that being said, what we're gonna do is, if we look at Alex's team, there's a lot of things I like, but then there's some things that I would replace. You know, Sans EV spreads, which I'm going to show you anyway, because this will also be a team building video around Azumarill. But there's some stuff that I would do differently and some different items that I would give some of these Pokemon. So what we're going to do is recreate this 6 that Alex has here the way that we would do it. And now you get another team out of it that you can use to jump into the ladder and test something out, or even use it in an upcoming online tournament. All right, so let's go ahead and build this team. Okay, so let's start and continue with the Azumarill. So of course, Aqua Jet and Play Rough are the 2 main stab moves. Then, in other words, if you do have speed control, then you can also just go with Liquidation, stronger water stab move than Aqua Jet for sure. And then in this last slot, it is going to be the Ice Spinner. So you are going to have 2 Pokemon, you know, namely the Chien Pao that's also going to have Ice Spinner. Makes a lot of sense. I mean, you know, this was always like the 4th move in Azumarill, but if you wanted like a little bit more variance because you always have Ice Spinner on the Chien Pao. If we take a look here, there's a couple moves here that you can consider besides just the Ice Spinner. You can even put in Superpower in that slot, but I don't really recommend that. Or even Trailblaze for like grass coverage. Gets a nice little boost, 100% chance to raise the speed by 1, so you can even consider that. But I feel like Ice Spinner is just like really, really good coverage, and sometimes you can't really click Ice Spinner on Chien Pao. You have to go for the Dark move or even the priority Sucker Punch, so I think it makes a lot of sense. Now with Dragonite here, we're going to go for a little bit more variance. So because we have the Ice Spinner on both of these Pokemon, we don't need Ice Spinner on Dragonite. Now we can free up that slot and do something else. But of course, Extreme Speed is going to come. I do like Stomping Tantrum in this slot just because the ground coverage is still important against like other Arcanines, against something like other Steel types. And then you can even use it against Terra Poison Ting Lu, which is also why I put it there, because if they have Terra Poison Ting Lu, it's a little bit difficult to remove, you know, if you don't have this ground coverage. So I do like that in that slot over there. So then after Stomping Tantrum, I think we can just afford to go with the stab move of Dragon Claw. You know, just so you know, you get a nice, strong, consistent stab move. Along, and by the way, this is going to be Choice Band Dragonite. And then from here, again, this last coverage move could be Ice Spinner, but doesn't have to be. You have some options with like Low Kick, you know, with that extra fighting move. But heavier the target is, you know, it just does a lot. And you can even one-shot stuff like King Gambit and do a bunch of damage to Dondozo. You can even do Brick Break if you want to break screens. But the one that I like is that's actually kind of interesting. You know, Fire Punch is another good one. Even Iron Head, right, for still coverage. That's actually pretty cool. Like, you can even do like Iron Head Dragonite just to snipe the other Flutter Manes that are running around. So Iron Head Dragonite is also pretty good. You could even, by the way, do Outrage over Dragon Claw. I think that's also have some merit. But I just like this other move. What is it called? I swear I just saw it. Oh, here it is, Aerial Ace. So this way, like, you don't have to go and commit the Terra for doing like Terra Blast, Terra Fly. You can keep the Terra and just go for like a hard-hitting Aerial Ace, right? And it makes a lot of sense if you can just do this. If you look at Alex's team, he had Rock Slide. Why he has Rock Slide, I couldn't tell you. You're gonna have to ask him, but he found some merit from it. But I don't know if we need Rock Slide. I don't think you'll be clicking that all that often, if ever. But you know, to each their own. I think just this type of moveset is totally fine. But here, if we go into Chien Pao, Focus Sash here is what we want. Okay, then we can do again like Sucker Punch, Ice Spinner. Then you can just do Sacred Sword. Really good against Dondozo as well because you can ignore the defense boost. Then Arcanine over here. Of course, Flare Blitz, yeah, your main fire stat move. Protect is really nice. Safety Goggles just to get around the Amoongus stuff and so you don't get slept. Speaking of Amoongus, here we are. Terra Water is really, really nice. And of course, we're going for a Regenerator just because you can get a little bit more HP back. I do like that Mental Herb just in case, you know, you're running against taunt users like Gothitelle or Talonflame for that matter. But if you want like a Recovery Berry like Alex has, that's totally fine. So like something like Citrus Berry is also pretty much appreciated. But I do like the Mental Herb in this case. So you can definitely consider that. But other than that, Rage Powder, a Spore, of course, your two main moves. Pollen Puff, just to keep healing your Pokemon over time, especially after like Arcanine is clicking Flare Blitz and stuff like that. Definitely it has some good synergy there. And then over here, you can just do something like Clear Smog, and then just, you know, something against another Dondozo tool. By the way, Dondozo is not going to be used as much in this format as Series B or even A for that matter. But, you know, you still want to respect it, so Clear Smog comes again. Then over here with Flutter Mane, I do like a more offensive Flutter Mane and this type of theme. So you can even do like Life Orb, or you can even do like a Booster Energy set, right? And what I'm going to go for here is basically Shadow Ball, Moonblast, 2 target moves rather than the spread move of Dazzling Gleam. Then Perish Song gives you a nice out in certain scenarios, especially again also against Dondozo stuff. You know, just some kind of end game potential where you can knock out 2 Pokemon immediately, especially for like Dragonite Chien Pao or even Azumarill Chien Pao, and then just immediately end the game with Perish Song after you knock out 2 KOs is also really, it's just another way that you can use this type of team. All right, so now that we have our moves and items, I think I just want to do the Terra types and then just go ahead and show you some EV spreads that I've come up with. Again, Alex, we don't have his EV spreads. We don't need them because we can just make our own. So that's what I want to show you. So Terra Water is still pretty good. You can do Aqua Jet stuff and a little bit more extra stab move. If you want to go Terra Grass here, you can do that. Alright, so this way you have like, you can absorb the electric attacks that are super effective. So for that matter, it makes a lot of sense. Dragonite, you can definitely do Terra Normal here. Of course, you'll just get a little bit more extreme speeds damage. Chien Pao, Terra Dark is still okay. Arcanine, you can do, you don't even have to do, you can do like Terra Water in this case. So this way you have the goggles where you can get around the Amoongus, and then the water is not bad against the Hydro Pump, Iron Bundle as an example. Amoongus, Terra Water, still the same thing. Again, it's you're able to tank that Flare Blitz from another Arcanine, for example, and just do relatively well. Normally this would be like Terra Dark against like Indeedee Armored stuff, but then I don't expect that Archetype to be as good as it is in the previous formats, just because of all the dark stuff running around. So if it is still running around, then I can definitely see this going Terra Dark, but until then, Terra Water seems like a better option. And then over here, Terra Fairy, just to get a little bit more out of your Moonblast. Makes a lot of sense there. But this is it as far as like Terra types, movesites, and items. So now I'm just going to show you some EV spreads and show you some interesting ways that you can EV these Pokemon. All right, so let's take a look. Okay, so now I'm going to give you a little bit of an EV lesson where I'm going to show you how to use the damage calculator to survive certain hits. So I look at Azumarill and I understand that there's an Arcanine on my team that can support me physically, where I have the Intimidate and the Will-O-Wisp support. I also understand that I have the Assault Vest where I can get some special defense bulk here. But I also understand that I can deal a big amount of damage, thanks to Chien Pao. And now what you can consider is some offensive and defensive calcs. We're going to show you a main defensive calc here at the same time showing you an offensive one, and that's going to be against the Iron Hands over here. So basically this is a very standard Iron Hand set where you're like Adamant 252 with a little bit of investment in HP, and a lot goes into special defense to survive the Flutter Mane Moonblast. Okay, cool. Thanks a lot. Now what we want to do is figure out how we're going to EV this, besides the attack and the defense stuff. So just a little bit of speed, just about this much. This is just so that I can get out of the same speed tier bracket as King Gambit and another Iron Hands, because all three of us are base speed 50, right? So then if you just invest a little bit of speed, you're going to outspeed them and, just get out of that, speed tie kind of thing. So that's why you just put a little bit of speed, because sometimes they even put like 4 or 12 speed. So to just outspeed them, you just go 2 points above it, and now you're at 74. And it's a reasonable amount of speed investment where you can survive, or rather go first with your play route, for example. Then from here, I'm just going to put 156 investment into attack. Again, this is just to hit the second EV benchmark in the attack set. And again, if you don't know what EV benchmarks or EV bumps are, you need to know what they are if you're trying to play competitive Pokemon. But if you don't know what they are, comment in the video section below and I'll tell you what they are. But here it is. Here's the second one. And then we're just going to go to 191 investment here rather than 207 completely. This is just so because I can survive the Iron Hands Wild Charge. And in order to do that, I'm going to need a lot more defense investment than just about this much. Like if I were to just do this, this is not enough to survive the Iron Hands. I'm going to need a little bit more. So to do that, I'm going to still go to 191 where I'm still optimizing against the Tyranitar Sand Chip damage. Because again, 191 divided by 16 is just 11.9. Now I have 200 more EVs left to play with where I can figure out where to put them in defense or special defense. Just about this much in special defense just to optimize against the Assault Vest that I have over here, because you need an even number. Because if you're trying to do a 1.5 factor, again, if this is an odd number, it'll round it down because you have a decimal. But if this is an even number times 1.5 will give you a whole number. So you get the best bang for your buck there. All right, now defense investment, it looks like I can just straight up just do this 188, but let's see if that's actually what I need. So here we go. We're back here in the damage calculator website. Here's the Iron Hands. Here's Azumarill. We're just going to do 124 investment to get you to 191. And then from here, you see that Wild Charge pretty much just smashes me. But then if you factor in the -1 from the Arcanine Intimidate, and then you see now it's a little bit less, but it's still a pretty good chance to OHKO me with 93% chance. So now what I'm going to do is invest a little bit more in defense and try and live this and see how much I actually need, where I can guarantee the survival here. So I'm getting close. You see how much value you're getting out of defense. This is why I like to do this. All right, and it looks like it's going to be 156 investment that I'm going to need to survive this. So 156 is good. So now if I take a look back here in the damage calc, again, with 156 defense investment, I can live the Wild Charge. okay, which will give it about 16 on a low roll, 16% recoil. And then if you look at my play rough damage, you know, again, this is with the Sword of Ruin, by the way, with, you know, the Chien Pao stuff. But after that, I can actually just pick up this KO because it's going to take recoil from Wild Charge, right? If it was Arcanine swapping it for Intimidate, then on a low roll, it probably does live, okay? But that's still okay because anytime you can still put on a good amount of pressure against the Iron Hands and survive that Wild Charge is still very, very good, because then the next turn you can just Aqua Jet it and then it just dies anyway, right? So then you have 32 more EVs left to play with and you don't really have anywhere else to put it. So what you can do is just either add it a little bit more in special defense like this, just to round it out, or you can put a little bit more in your attack stat like this and get it to 188. And then that'll just give you a little bit more of a roll, right? And a little bit more increase in damage. So if you favor that, sure. But if you favor the bulk a little bit, then you can definitely consider, you know, just putting it more in special defense like this. So I'll leave it over here just to show you that, hey, we have a bulky Azumarill. All right, Dragonite over here, we just need Adamant Nature here on the Dragonite, just about 236 investment. Again, just to hit that benchmark here. But honestly, I don't think this, actually, no, it's actually right over here, 204 investment. So what we're gonna do here is actually just go max attack here, 191 investment, again, just to optimize that sand chip, a point in the bulk, and then the rest just goes into speed like this. All right, I think it makes a lot of sense. All right, Chien Pao, again, with Chien Pao, again, just because you have a sash, you're just going to go 252, 252 like this. Jolly Nature, straight sash set, you know, nothing else needs to be said over here. The Arcanine, what I like to do with this Arcanine set, I like to go max HP here and then go for a Careful Nature set. If this was an extreme speed Arcanine, you know, with Flare Blitz, I'd probably go Adamant 76 in terms of the attack. But because this is just our supportive Arcanine, I just want to be bulky and survive the Iron Bundle Hydro Pump, and this investment is what does that. Then from there, I don't really need that much speed, and I don't really need attack. I just want to be bulky and be annoying, and all this leftover EVs just goes straight into defense because I already achieved the calc that I wanted. I can survive the Hydro Pump. The rest is just, you know, extra EVs. The Amoongus, again, with the Relaxed Nature, you have a couple options, right? But again, with the Relaxed Nature, you get a defense boost, speed reduction nature to make you extra fast in Trick Room, 236 investment to put you at 219. Does a couple things. One, puts you out of range of, you know, Final Gambit from an Annihilate, and two, it optimizes your regenerative recovery because a third of 219 gives you a perfect 73. If you had to 221 like this, or even like 217, 216, 215 like this, it's like 72 point something or 73 point something, but at a perfect 219 like this, it's a perfect 73 recovery when you switch it out. All right, then you just go to the bump here in the defense nature. So here's the first one, right here, 76. That's the first benchmark. Then another 80 EVs get you to the second benchmark, 156. Then you can just dump the wrench in special defense. In previous videos, I used to do this where I would just invest 196 defense just so that I can survive the Roaring Moon, Terra Flying Acrobatics, but I don't expect too much Roaring Moon this time around, maybe a little bit. But if you prefer to keep that calc, definitely go ahead. But other than that, I'm just gonna keep put a little bit more in special defense now. Flutter Mane, I'm gonna go with a bulkier set here. So instead of like max speed, max special attack, we're gonna go Modest Nature, and we're just gonna put enough speed where we outspeed Adamant 252 Dondozo, which hits 174. So 175 will outspeed that. And then we'll go to 36 investment, which hits a bump, you know, a benchmark. So now what you see here, it's 176 and 175. And because our special attack is higher than our speed, we're going to get a Modest Natured boost. So a boost in special attack. And now I have 316 EVs left to play with, where I can just invest more in my bulk. All right, so this is going to be a very bulky Flutter Mane. So 1 point in special defense is all I need. I'm going to invest 228 up to here, just this much. Honestly, you can just max this and it just goes 60 defense like this. All right, I have no problem in doing this, but honestly, if you go 159 here, if I just do some quick math real quick, 159 divided by 16, I think this, yep, this optimizes for sand chip as well. So honestly, this will be, again, 9.9, which rounds down to 9 damage from the sand chip. Now I can just add a little bit more in defense like this, and this is now a bulky, modest Flutter Mane that still gets a modest boost. But again, it's slow, but that's okay because we're going to be dealing damage and we're going to be bulky, which is the preferred way that I like to play Flutter Mane, okay? And when you're in the best of 3 tournament, they don't know your spreads. They just see Shadow Ball, Moonblast, Parasong, Protect, and Booster Energy. That's all they see. They don't see any of this investment. So when they see you surviving hits, now they're going to understand, oh, this is a bulky Flutter Mane, but it might be too late by then. All right. So other than that, this is pretty much Alex's team just with our EV spreads and some of our move choices. And I think it's a pretty solid team, you know, just that tries to utilize Azumarill's bulkier. It's pretty, yeah, it is actually very bulky. Thanks to the Arcanine support, it actually does really I feel like overall the team. So if this is something you're interested in, definitely give it a go. Let me know how you do. Make the team in game. Try and enter some of these online tournaments and test it out. But I really think that Azumarill is really good this format because you can pressure not only the Ruin, the Treasures of Ruin Pokemon, but other stuff as well. Because if you go down this list, like this is the old Series 2 list, but again, the only difference is the Treasures of Ruin. So if you just go here, look what Azumarill can do well into, okay? You get priority against the Flutter Mane, first of all. Not that you can pick it up, but actually you can because you have huge power and you have the Chien Pao boost. You can pick up the Iron Hands and Great Tusk because you have Fairy coverage and you have the Water Stab moves, right? Then you go against Goldango, you can resist that because you have the Assault Vest. Amoongus, again, not a huge deal. You can deter that with the Ice Spinner. The Arcanine, you have the Water move. Dondozo, you're a Fairy type. It can't click Order Up anymore. You can click a Fairy move, and which could be super effective depending on its Terra, or you can just, you know, rely on your other options to, get around Dondozo, but you can still do a lot of damage against it. Dragonite, Roaring Moon, you drop to Azumarill, right? King Gambit is interesting with the coverage that you have. Mousehold, also, even though it has Rengar, you can still put pressure on it. Brute Bonnet, good Fairy coverage against that. Talonflame dies to Aqua Jet. Armarouge, also, again, you get priority with your Aqua Jet. You can also click Ice Spinner against the Indeedee stuff and remove their terrain. Torkoal, again, as long as you can survive Sun, you can pressure again with your water attacks. Tyranitar, the Fairy coverage and the water coverage is actually really nice. And if it wants to go Terra Flying, you have the ice coverage for that as well. And then the list goes on, right? So you do a lot against some of the other non-Treasures of Ruin Pokemon. So that's why I really feel like Azumarill is a good Pokemon heading into Regulation C. But that's going to be it for now, guys. And again, if this is something you're interested in, if you want to build the team for an upcoming tournament, an upcoming regional like Fort Wayne coming up, we've been doing a lot of one-on-one coaching on our channel. It's all team building sessions so far. But basically, if you take a look at the video description below, if you take a look at the comment section, we have a link where you can join the channel with that tier 3 sub, or you can take a look at every single video on the channel. There is a join button with every video. You can click that join button and then you can still register with that tier 3 sub. Once you do, you can message me on Discord and then we can coordinate a one-on-one session and it'll all be done with the Discord call, all right? Or you can actually just join the Discord yourself, then message me there and then I send out some DMs and then, we coordinate and go from there. All right, that'll be it for now, guys. Let me know what you think of this team. Let me know what you think of Azumarill, but we'll be back in another video in the next one. Peace out. Have a good night.